Joining us now live, Eric Trump, the second son of Donald J. Trump, running for president. As we just said, the Trump campaign, the rumors that they were leaving Virginia, which I spent 4 days fighting the media on and debunking, not true whatsoever. $2 million ad buy just started. We're certainly not going to telegraph to Terry McAuliffe what our ad buy is. I was intricately involved in that. Hey, Eric, good to have you with us, man.
Hey, how are you? It's good to be with you.
I tell you what, Eric, I've never seen anything like what went on in Virginia in the last several days. NBC running a story completely false, didn't check with anybody, didn't check with the Trump campaign at Trump Tower, didn't check with me, I'm the acting chairman of the state, ran a story and said that your father was pulling out of Virginia. Totally false. I spent 5 days in 50 interviews debunking it. And then, of course, yesterday, our $2 million ad campaign starts. Then they're asking me, well, why didn't you tell us about that? Why are we going to telegraph our strategy to the Clinton machine? Why would we do that? How does this whole thing make any sense?
Yeah, well, Hillary would do it on the opposite side. She put her plan to fight ISIS on her website. So, I mean, if you want to know anything about plans, being telegraphed, I think you can get a good indication from what they do on the other side. Listen, it's insane. And my father says, John, that this is a rigged system. It is a rigged system. You see it right there. I mean, people spew nonsense stories probably put out by, Hillary and their campaign saying that we're pulling out of a major state that, quite frankly, we've done unbelievably well in. You can't. I was in Virginia yesterday. You can't drive 3 feet in Virginia without seeing another Trump sign on the side of the road. I mean, it's really incredible. We have amazing support there. We're spending millions and millions of dollars worth of ads. We've got an amazing team. You're doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job. And they spread this nonsense. And this is our political system. I mean, this is what we have as a country, as a political system. It's unbelievable. I mean, the lies and the deceit and the things, and we're seeing it in WikiLeaks for the first time ever, right? We're starting to see it. Here's a campaign that tried to bribe the FBI. How do you bribe the FBI? I mean, you should go to jail for that. It's unbelievable, but this is a campaign that these guys are running. I mean, here's a political candidate who got the debate questions ahead of time. I mean, could you imagine, John, if my father got the debate questions ahead of time? I mean, Hillary got the debate questions from Donna Brazile for one of the debates against Bernie Sanders ahead of time, and no one's going crazy. I mean, no one's saying, come on. I mean, that's not the way the system works. It is a rigged system, and it's very, very sad, actually.
Well, it is. And, seeing it, it's one thing to talk about it. We've been saying on the air for several days and in the media, Eric Trump, having this false narrative about pulling out of Virginia play out in real time, right on the air on my radio show, was one of the most incredibly disgusting things I've ever seen, because NBC just went with a story. They confirmed it with no one. It was a complete lie. And it was done for one reason. They know that we have tens of thousands of volunteers in Virginia. That has been the spinal cord and the lifeblood of our campaign in Virginia. It's our volunteers. It's our enthusiasm. And they put the story out in order to dispirit our volunteers. They never checked with anybody. It was a complete fabrication of what happened. And then they're telling me the other day, well, you only planned that $2 million ad campaign in response to this. It's like, we planned this a month ago. I was involved in it. I mean, it's incredible how they lie.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really it's amazing. I can say, having a front and center row, I'm a civilian in this whole process. I'm not a politician. Really, probably will never get into politics in any way. But it's amazing. I mean, having a front row seat to this process and seeing kind of the disgusting antics that take place is truly horrible. We have a person, Hillary Clinton, who might be the most corrupt politician in American history.
Right.
A person who's made $250 million since leaving the White House office selling influence, who runs one of the largest Ponzi scheme charities anywhere in the world. I mean, it's so sad. You see the money. You see the Clinton Foundation getting $145 million from Russian business people after we give 20% of the uranium stockpile of the United States to Russia. I mean, it's really disgusting what's going on. A person who's lied to the Department of Justice, a person who's lied to the FBI, a person who tried to bribe the FBI, or campaign at least, that tried to bribe the FBI, as came out yesterday. One that made fun of Christians, one that made fun of evangelicals, one that called Latinos needy Latinos. I mean, it's really horrible stuff, and There is no level to which these guys won't stoop, and it's again, as a civilian, this whole process, as a non-politician, to me, it's actually truly disgusting. I mean, we deserve so much better as a country. And John, look at our problems. I mean, we've got $20 trillion worth of debt. Our educational system's a mess. It's ranked 30th in the world. We've got a military that's totally crippled. We have 22 veterans that are taking their own lives every single day. Obamacare is a mess. I mean, people can no longer afford it. It's making small businesses go out of business. We have more businesses in this country that are going, that are closing every year than are opening. We have 100 million people out of the workforce in this country. We've lost 1-3 manufacturing jobs since Bill Clinton signed NAFTA. I mean, we've got real issues, and this is what they do. I mean, their campaign is a campaign of total smears and lies and deceit. And quite frankly, they have the whole liberal media orchestrating it for them. And it's truly tragic and it's truly sad. And we as a country deserve so much better.
Well, Eric, Trump, no question. They're very desperate in this campaign. They can't win on the issues, so they have to find other ways in order to basically control the narrative, because if it gets to the issues, they're a dead duck. They know that we're going to win this campaign. Hey, Eric, can we just put to bed once and for all that there are no changes to the campaign in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that the Trump campaign is all that resources that we need, as I've been saying, in order to win on November 8th?
Absolutely. I mean, there's just no question about it.
Thank you. And we get back to some of the false narrative going out. We find out today through WikiLeaks that this is unbelievable to me as a journalist. Maggie Haberman, New York Times reporter, not columnist, not editorial opinion writer like I was, reporter, vetting her stories with Clinton, sending it to the campaign chairman Podesta for his approval prior to publishing it. I've never seen such a thing like this in my life. Nobody says anything about it.
The biggest hashtag that was trending for over the last couple of weeks on Twitter and on all the social media channels is hashtag journalism is dead. And it's sad. I start feeling that way. I mean, I watch CNN, and they may as well be an extension of the Clinton campaign. It's unbelievable. I mean, the amount of time that they'll spend on on a tape that's 30 years old versus the amount of time that they spend. I mean, they didn't even mention the fact yesterday, or for Bill Clinton's birthday, he got $1 million from Qatar. $1 million. They said, we would like to meet with President Clinton for 5 minutes. We'd like to present him a $1 million check for his birthday. He meets with them for 5 minutes. He gets $1 million check. I mean, does anybody in this country really think that they're meeting with Bill Clinton for 5 minutes and giving him $1 million because they love his charming personality and they care that it's his birthday? I mean, it's all pay for play. It's all pay for play, and it's just disgusting stuff. It's really horrible. You look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia gave the Clinton Foundation $35 million. Saudi Arabia is the largest abuser of women and minorities anywhere in the world. I mean, it's truly, truly bad stuff. None of this gets reported. I mean, the only person talking about this is great people like you, who are honest and are sick of the abuse of government, and that's exactly what it is. And they're leaving as they're making $250 million in profit in 15 years. And they have their beautiful little office in Washington, D.C. on the corner of somewhere on Pennsylvania Avenue. They're leaving Americans, hardworking Americans, behind, and it's very sad, and it's really hurt our country.
They make all the money. Middle-class Americans, hard-working Americans, blue-collar Americans lose. That's been the mantra. Look, another thing went under the radar screen. Unbelievable. Hillary Clinton makes a speech at Wall Street and says, don't pay attention to what I say on the campaign trail. I have a public position that I have to say certain things, but look, I also have a private position, which basically is I'm going to do whatever you want. I mean, who says this, right?
Yeah, and then she says, I've been working for you for the last 10 years. I mean, she said that. She goes, I've been working for you for the last 10 years, and then she'll go out in the debate. I'm going to bring the fight to Wall Street. What do you mean? You've made all your money giving speeches to Wall Street. Does anybody actually think you're gonna fight on behalf of the American people? Listen, here's the reality. She's been in government longer than I've been alive. She's been a politician for 35 years.
Right.
When she was senator of New York, she promised New York she was going to bring 200,000 jobs to upstate New York. How many jobs did she bring to upstate New York? Not a single one. By the time she left, an additional 8,000 jobs had been lost from New York State. Now she's promising 10 million jobs as a nation. I mean, she didn't create one in New York State, but yet she's promising 10 million as a nation. Her foreign policy has cost our country trillions of dollars, $6 trillion to be exact. You look at Iraq, you look at Libya, you look at Syria, those countries are a complete disaster, And worse than losing $6 trillion, we've lost thousands and thousands of brave American lives.
Right.
For $6 trillion, we could have rebuilt this nation 4 times over. Her foreign policy has been horrible. When she was Secretary of State, she lost $6 billion under her watch, meaning $6 billion just disappeared from the State Department. I mean, this is what we're getting from our politicians. I mean, think about that kind of money. Think about what $6 billion could be. Think about how many schools in America that could rebuild. Think about how many rundown neighborhoods, suffering neighborhoods that $6 billion could rebuild. And they lose it. I mean, they can't account for it. No one knows where the money is. I mean, these are our politicians that we have in this country.
The level of just incompetence and corruption up and down the thing is just unbelievable. Look, I want to get to tomorrow night's debate. It's going to be the third and final debate. And I also want to tell our audience that I'm going to be doing my show again live both tomorrow and on Thursday for debate analysis from your Eric Trump Winery in Charlottesville. So we're looking forward to that. I'm going to be there for 2 days doing my show. Tomorrow's debate, Eric Trump, big deal for your father. It's the third one. We saw a very great debater in the second debate. We know that Governor Christie's been working with him. What does your dad have to do tomorrow night in order to win this debate and win the election?
Well, I think he's going to. I mean, he did such an incredible job in the second debate. He did, and quite frankly, Mike Pence did such an incredible job. In the VP debate. I mean, we're off 2 very, very hot debates, and there's no question he's going to do great, in this debate. And I think he's going to prosecute her on her track record. Her track record is horrible. I mean, her track record is truly, truly horrible on just about every issue, from the Middle East, as I mentioned a second ago, Iraq, Libya, Syria, to her job as senator, where, jobs were fleeing the state of New York, to increase taxes. We're the highest tax nation in the world, and Hillary wants to increase everybody's taxes, to the fact that median income in this country hasn't gone up in 15 years. I mean, think about that. People haven't made any more money than they were making 15 years ago. And in fact, it's actually gone worse because expenses have gone up dramatically in this country. And yet she wants to impose larger taxes. She said the other day at the last debate, I couldn't believe it, I was shaking my head. And by the way, I think her husband was probably shaking his head as well, because he came out and said that Obamacare is a total disaster. She goes, we might be able to tweak Obamacare, and we might be able to fix it. There's 1 or 2 little things that we could do. People's lives have changed. I mean, the amount of people that I meet on the campaign trail every single day that are opting out of Obamacare because they can no longer afford it is staggering. You look at what it's done to small business, and it's staggering. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, so many small businesses, and I speak to these people all the time. I had to lay off 4 employees because my Obamacare premiums have gone up so much that I can no longer stay solvent. So I actually had to let go of 4 people. I mean, this is Obamacare. This is the mess that we have. She has to account for that. There's a person that a couple weeks ago said that the VA was actually very, very good. They were doing a wonderful job, and we have 22 veterans that commit suicide every single day because, quite frankly, in many cases, the VA is doing a terrible job. In Denver, Colorado, I was there 2 days ago. There was a VA center that's supposed to be $500 million. It cost $2.1 billion, and it's still not open. They're $1.6 billion over budget. They're years behind schedule. It's still not open. I mean, and she says the VA does a wonderful job. I think we just have a very different standard than Hillary Clinton does. I mean, what she thinks is a good job, my father would think was an absolute horrible job and would expect 10 times the result. And I think that's the difference. And you see the same thing, John, with TPP. Right. Hillary Clinton said TPP was the gold standard. It was great. I mean, look at what NAFTA did to this country. Look how many jobs we lost as a result of NAFTA. She came out in WikiLeaks the other day. It's crazy. She came out in WikiLeaks the other day. She said she wanted total open borders.
Right.
Her dream was a United States with no borders. And I mean, you're sitting there saying, "Oh my God!" I mean, that would be the end of our country.
Well, it would be the end of our sovereignty. I mean, that's it, and it's all because they need these millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. They get billions of dollars from the slave labor trade network and cheap labor, HB1 visas. That's what they want. That's what's funding their campaign. That's what they are a slave to, basically. And your father's the only person that can break us out of this. Eric, we're out of time. I want to thank Eric Trump for being with us today. And Eric, also want to thank both yourself and your campaign for bestowing the honor of co-chairman to me. Serving you in Virginia, sir, has been an honor. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you so much, John, and you've become such an amazing friend, and I truly can't thank you enough on behalf of the whole family.
We are going to win on November 8th.
We are going to win.
We are going to win on November 8th. I've been saying it for 18 months. We are going to win on November 8th. Hey, Eric Trump, thanks for being with us.
See you later.
All right. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network. I'll be right back.